everyone. Welcome back to Unedited Chatter with Stephanie and Tisha. We are here for part 2, and we're excited.
Unedited Chatter drops new episodes every other Wednesday. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And the socials listed in the show notes. This show is an independent production. The views expressed here are our own and not those of our professional roles or employers. This is Unedited Chatter. Now, we are back, session 2, with the amazing, awesome Willie Spears. For those of you who might have missed session 1, I highly recommend you going back. But Willie Spears is a critically acclaimed author, highly sought-after speaker, and educator. He spent 20 years in education as an administrator, a teacher, and a coach, and has written several books, 20 books, including some on the topic of mental health. So we're going to switch gears for this second episode, and we're going to talk about a topic that's much more serious and near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is mental wellness. So Willie, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys look like Reese Witherspoon and Legally Blonde with that pink on. Y'all looking good today. Thank you so much. This is a topic that very near and dear to my heart. A lot of people don't know this, but my mother committed suicide. And the only reason I mentioned that, because I learned a long time ago when we're afraid to share our scars, we void ourselves from helping people who may need to learn from what has happened in our lives. And so I think we just don't recognize it in people sometimes, and we don't see it. And in teachers, because we're taught to be fake and we're taught to always have it together, that we're almost embarrassed to admit to someone that we didn't have a good weekend. And that weekend turns into a week, turns into 2 weeks, and then to a month. And so it's a subject that's very serious. And when I speak in schools, you would be amazed at how many people come pull me to the side and they cry in my arms. This year, no exaggeration, over 20 different people, men and women, pulled me to the side and shed tears and said, man, I really needed to hear that. I'm really hurting. I'm going through a lot right now. Thank you for being so real. And thank you for giving me the freedom to be honest about what I've been going through.
Wow. So that just makes me stop and think, because a lot of times, and we even tell our teachers, sometimes you're the only person that child gets a hug from. You're the only person but a lot of times teachers are not getting fed and we're stressed out. Our blood pressure is high. So I'm so glad that you're there for them, because we need that. So what are you seeing out in the schools? What is going on? Public schools right now, probably private schools, homeschool. It's everywhere. It's horrible. What do we...
I see unrealistic expectations, right? So if I'm in a school, and pardon this analogy, but you'll understand it, you can't give me bad groceries and expect me to make a gourmet meal. So I've seen teachers who they inherit these great students that come from great homes, and they're super smart, and they have these great scores, and they feel like, I'm the greatest teacher ever. Well, maybe you are a great teacher, but you had students who were great students, so that helps, right? Any of us could coach LeBron James, but can you coach the squatty body? Can you scroll the little guy that's not very talented and has fat ankles and doesn't like to sweat? Then we find out if you're really a good coach. And it's the same in the classroom. So what I see a lot of is people getting students who can't read. Stephanie and Tish, there are students in high school who can't sign their name in cursive. I'm not telling you what I've heard. There in the classroom, I substitute teach in classrooms. And remember back in the day, we would have to read aloud. And I don't know about you guys, I was the guy, I was scared. So I would count. I was like, okay,
Me
it's
too.
on stereo, 4, 5, 6. So I got this paragraph. And then I see the word photosynthesis. Can I use the restroom? I gotta go real bad. Right. So, but what it did, it made me learn how to read. I was forced. Remember, get up in the class. Work this problem up on the board, Willie. Work it out in front of everyone. Long division in front of. So we've taken that away. And what's happened? Students came. A buddy of mine called me. He's a general manager of Navy Federal. It's a bank, and they had a job for a high school graduate. That's all you needed, was a high school diploma. And I think the starting pay was like 35, 40. It was like a lot. It was a lot of money for an 18, 19-year-old. And full benefits. They couldn't find one qualified applicant. They found one girl who they thought was good, but she wouldn't speak up. She would put her head down and she would say, I don't feel comfortable looking at people when I talk to them. They said, well, ma'am, you're gonna be a teller. You gotta work it. I don't know. And then they found a guy, he was okay, but he would talk in slang terms. Like he didn't understand what we would call formal register. right? Or professional vernacular. Then there was another student they said that they thought was the one, but this person, they asked him to write one paragraph. The student couldn't write a paragraph. And what they did write, it was like they talk. They wrote DAT instead of THAT. There was no punctuation. The sentences didn't start with a capital letter. And this student graduated high school. And he asked me, he said, what are y'all doing that a student can graduate from high school but can't write a paragraph? And this is in school. I was in 32 states last year. 32 states. This is not Oklahoma problem, Texas problem, Florida. I was in California, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, New York. I was in it's everywhere. And the answer is loving on them enough that they know their mental health is taken care of so they have the freedom to learn and they're not afraid to fail.
Well, and Steph, I wanted to jump in because you and I had this conversation today too. I feel like, you know how our parents, you see those memes that says, I fell down one time and died. My mom told me to get back up. Steph and I had this conversation today because her son plays football and she can get into that if she wants, but we don't let children fail anymore. And we don't help them through those failures. We do everything for them so that they're not hurting, their feelings aren't hurt, and they're not sad.
You know what? It doesn't work. They need to fail. The only way to be great is to fail, right? So
We all fail.
Right. We use mental health sometimes as a crutch. There's so many, the pendulum for mental health, I could talk for hours about it. Like there's a stigma, we need to get rid of that. If someone had a broken arm, we wouldn't look down upon them. We would help them. If they were in a wheelchair, we would help them. It's the same with mental health. If someone took an aspirin for a headache, we wouldn't look down upon them. If someone needs to take medicine for mental health, we shouldn't look down on them. But the other side of that is, I didn't do my homework last night. I failed a test where I'm struggling with mental health. I need to retake the test. So it goes both ways. But I'm telling you, this is what happened, Tish. We think we had it rough growing up, and we don't want our kids to have it rough. So we're going to protect them so they don't have it rough. But we fail to realize that having it rough made us who we are. We're more resilient. We can take more. Our feelings aren't hurt. So, I was in Georgia at a suicide prevention conference. I was a speaker. 2 days, I believe it was. And I forgot the name. Know Your Worth. It's called the Know Your Worth Conference. Over 600 students. I asked the question, how many of you know someone who has committed suicide? Almost every hand went up. So I'm thinking they thought I meant famous people or people on TV. I said, I'm sorry, let me rephrase the question. How many of you know someone that you've actually had a conversation with and you actually physically touched them before that's committed suicide? All the same hands went up. When I was in school, Tisha and Stephanie, I didn't know anybody who committed suicide. When I was in middle school, I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought that was for famous people, right? I didn't know. And then this happened this week. I won't say the name because it's not public knowledge yet, but a superintendent of schools on Monday committed suicide. On Monday, a superintendent of schools. You would think that a superintendent, they have it all together. There was no scandal. He wasn't going to be fired. He wasn't caught up in some racist event in his life. For whatever reason, he took his own life. And there were signs there that we probably just didn't notice.
Same
And
with
so
the Dallas Cowboy, the football player. That happened this week.
we would think we'll trade places with him. Like most people, man, what do you want to be? I want to be in the NFL. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to be known. This guy had what we thought we wanted. Now, you guys do know his mother passed away a few years ago, right? And the problem is, and you know this, you have boys, both of y'all know this. Boys aren't allowed to struggle with mental health. We're not allowed. A boy can't say, I'm sad. A boy can't say, like, look, if a girl breaks up with a guy, the guy has to pretend he really wasn't into the girl. The guy can't say, what's wrong with you, Charlie? Man, I'm hurt, man. I loved her, man. She was my everything. We're like, man, she was your everything. Man, this guy over here crying, man. Man, there's plenty fish in the sea, man. So matter of fact, shameless plug. One of my favorite books I've written on mental health is called David's Depression. My middle name is David. My dad's middle name is David. My son's middle name is David. I write about how all three of us suffered depression and we all hid it because we were taught and we taught it to each other. My dad taught it to me. I taught it to my son. Real men don't cry. Get up, boy. You'll be all right. Suck it up. No. Talk to someone. Make sure that you love yourself. Brene Brown says we should love ourselves. We should treat ourselves like someone that we love. And we should talk to ourselves like we would talk to someone that we love. But the truth is, guys, we're the most mean to ourselves. We've forgiven everyone else. We've forgiven our ex. We've forgiven our parents. We've forgiven our former boss. We've forgiven our siblings, but we haven't forgiven ourselves. And we keep bringing up all of our disappointments and we overthink everything. We think everyone's looking at us and looking down upon us. I want to normalize it when you come into work on Monday and someone say, how was your weekend? And you can say, it wasn't that good. I stayed in the bed all weekend. It was hard to get up and come in this morning, but I made it. We need to normalize that instead of everybody lying. Oh, the weekend was amazing. The weekend was great. I can't believe my team lost. No, you can't work 180 days and every weekend be great. It's just not, it doesn't even make sense. But we need to normalize mental health, depression, anxiety, stress. If we're going to be real, we have to say that none of us have it all together.
I think that transparency, like you said, just being very open and honest that we've all been there. We've all been in the mud, we've all been in the weeds, and to articulate that to our youngest learners, right? To the youth populations, which is why we're here talking about it. Balancing that, to your point, with a level of accountability, because you do have to go through those tough times and you do have to come out of those tough times some way. It is great to have that culture around you, that community around you. So if you were to speak to creating that supportive, but accountable, not enabling children, right? Keeping them, not entitling them, keeping them accountable, but balancing that grace, that softness, that love, right? With those expectations, because that's really kind of where that sweet spot is to create, man, a real good individual.
Yeah, it's ingredients, right? It's ingredients to a cake or a pie. You need tough love. You need someone to say, no, stop, no, we're not whining. Go back to class, study harder, stop. No, you did not start, but you're not quitting. You know, you're not coming home. You've been there for 2 weeks. The coach doesn't like me. I don't give a crap. Stay there. But we also need someone to say, hey, hang in there, man. Tell me what you're going through. What's going on? What happened at practice today? We need both. So I've seen this with a lot of athletes I coach that come from single parent homes. They get it to school far away and they call mom. What's mom going to say? Baby, you don't have to put up with that. Baby, come on home. Mama loves you. And the kid needs that. But the kid also needs in the background, hey, get off the phone with him. He will be okay. Is he sick? No. Is someone physically hurting him? No. Has he mentioned killing himself? No. Tell him we love him. We'll call him tomorrow. You need both. And I was blessed. My parents, a true story, Tish. You ready? No one ever heard this story, Tisha. So I'm from Panama City Beach, Florida. Panama City, Florida. And I go to Alba, Oklahoma, Northwest Oklahoma State. That's a whole other story. I get there. I never went on a recruiting visit. I get there. I'm like, oh no. I can't, there's no way. So my mom and dad dropped me off. My mom says, we'll come back tomorrow to say you and to give you a hug goodbye. My dad said, no, we won't. This is a goodbye right here. So I'm like, whatever. So they leave, go to the hotel. I sit on my bed. I'm like, man, I can't do this. I can't do this. There's no way. The room, I'm in the hall, bare, nothing on the wall, no carpet, old school cinder block walls. And so I didn't even unpack. I said, I'm just going to, when our parents come tomorrow, I'm going to go back. I'll probably walk on a UCF somewhere. I'm not going to do this. So the next day, I didn't even shower. Like I went to bed that night, didn't even put sheets up. Seriously, the next day, this before cell phones, I'm waiting. They don't come. I go eat, come back. It's lunchtime. I'm like, wait, where are they? I get a phone call. This is how old I am. Tisha's not this old. She was an elementary.
We talked on that phone down in the lobby.
So somebody like, Willie Spears, Willie Spears, I said, oh, okay, they're on the way. Hey, what's up? My mama say, hey, baby. I said, Ma, I got my stuff packed. This ain't gonna, no. At first I said, oh, well, what's going on? Where y'all at? Oh, y'all on the way? My mama said, we in Dallas, Texas. I said, what are y'all doing in Dallas, Texas? Then I started to say, I have my stuff packed. And I heard my dad in the background. Hey, man, we love you. You're going to do great things up there, man. I said, yeah, man, I love it, man. It's great up here, man. But I needed my dad or I would have left without even giving it a shot. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So I think the answer to mental health is having a great support system, having a team, someone to show you the tough love, someone that's going to let you whine all you want to whine and complain and whatever you want to call it. Or I call it just let your hair down. I do a lot of consulting with pastors, and many of them don't have anyone they can let their hair down with. They don't have anyone they can be real and honest with. And we all need that. We all need to be able to flesh it all out. And then, mental health comes with having daily health habits of self-care to take care of yourself. Because if you don't, you're gonna medicate. You're gonna do things that's gonna hurt you because it gives you temporary relief from what you're feeling. And so people always ask, what is depression? How do you know mental health? If you go 2 or 3 days in a row where you're not yourself, then you're suffering mental illness. And it's okay. It's okay. All of us have, right? And so, not to get too deep, but if you read the Bible, Hebrews 5 and 7, you'll see, this is going to sound blasphemous, where Jesus had what we would call a mental breakdown. Everyone goes through something. Embrace it, get the help that you need. And if you're a teacher, realize you got to take care of yourself. Last thing I promise, when I'm on a plane, they always say if something happens, the oxygen mask is going to fall down from the sky. But before you help a child, you got to take care of yourself. It's the same with mental health. We can't help children if we don't take care of ourselves first.
That's spot on, and I love it all. And I had chills several times. So thank you so much. We love you being here. All three of us could do a podcast over and over together, but you are amazing. We're going to have all of your information in the show notes. Thank you for what you do for teachers, for children, for communities, and just for everyone who helps children. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Listen to everyone. Share the podcast. This is unedited. We got the old version of them was all polished. Good morning. I'm Dr. T. They didn't even say they had doctrines this time. This is unedited. This is the real Thelma and Louise. You need to subscribe right now. Download and share. It's the best podcast out there. Make sure you check out Stephanie and Tisha. They're doing a great job. Thanks so much, ladies, for having me on the show.
Thank you.
We love you, Willie.